Breaking news. The Kremlin has confirmed Putin will travel to Turkey. Vladimir Putin, President of Russia, is expected to visit Turkey at the invitation of Recep Tayyip Erdogan, though no firm plans have been made as of yet. Putin's aide Yuri Ushakov wrote a commentary for Russian news agency Interfax, which was picked up by European publication Pravda. Ushakov's citation: "The invitation for our President, Putin, ed. to visit Turkey has been confirmed by the President of Turkey. Dates are in the works, but haven't been finalized just yet." There have been rumors in the media about a potential visit by the Russian president to Turkey for both the April opening of the Rosatom-built Akuyu nuclear power plant and Erdogan's inauguration in June. In July of 2022, while visiting Iran, top officials from Russia and Turkey had their last face-to-face meeting. It is common knowledge that Ankara is attempting to maintain cordial ties with both Moscow and Kiev in the midst of the conflict. Despite its opposition to sanctions in principle, Ankara has made it clear that Turkey will not provide a way for the Russian military to use the products supplied for offensive purposes. All eyes were on Cape Town recently when the foreign ministers of the 5 BRICS countries got together. But it wasn't because of any grand schemes that were revealed. Rather, it was the difficulty of figuring out how to proceed if President Vladimir Putin shows up at the BRICS summit in South Africa this August. Ever since the original BRIC grouping was formed in 2001, and especially since South Africa joined in 2010 and the group would henceforth be called BRICS, there has been much discussion about how this grouping could serve as an alternative to, say, the G7 or other Western groups. The BRICS countries have discussed a number of potential alternatives to liberal Western democracy, including the creation of a BRICS bank, a BRICS currency, and even broader political and economic alternatives. But so far, this hasn't led anywhere. It is undeniable that Brazil, Russia, India, and China, the original 4 members of the BRICs, have significant and even expanding clout on the international stage. South Africa is a relatively minor and weak member of the BRICS group. Together, the 5 BRICS countries are home to 42% of the world's population, but they contribute only 23% of global output and 18% of global trade. It is unrealistic to expect the BRICS bloc to quickly emerge as a direct economic counterpole to, say, the G7. 2 weeks ago, it was clear that some of the current member states wanted to see more countries from South America, Africa, the Middle East, and Asia join BRICS. However, it is unclear what the binding factors of such a grouping can be. After last week's summit, it became clear that the only thing holding everyone together is a widespread dislike of Western, and particularly American, power and influence, largely because of the dollar's role. India supports a new international order in which the United States and the West have less influence, but it is opposed to China's rising global influence. There are many areas in which these two nations couldn't be more dissimilar. The West is weaker than it was a while ago. Challenges arise from a lack of strong political leadership, particularly in the United States and Europe, from deep divisions at home in the United States, and from similar divisions in Europe over the war and other domestic issues. At present, US dollars account for 59% of global central bank reserves. Most commodity transactions are settled in US dollars. It's simple for the BRICS to propose a new currency to replace the dollar, but it will be extremely challenging to put into practice. Trade with the West is vital for developing nations like South Africa and Brazil, as well as India, China, and any future BRICS members. The South African government sees the BRICS summit as a chance to demonstrate leadership on the international stage this year. South Africa runs the very real risk of emerging from this situation weaker rather than stronger. In their dealings with the West and other countries, such as Russia and China, countries like Brazil and India tread carefully. Instead, South Africa should exercise caution by not placing too high of an expectation on the BRICS countries, and by clearly calculating the risks of a BRICS alliance that sets itself more directly against the West.